everyone, welcome back to True Crime with Jess Rose. Thank you for joining me, and thank you very much for watching my other two videos. If you haven't, the two videos I did were of a show called Britain's Darkest Taboos, and more concentrated on the victims. The first one was Kellyanne Bates, second one was Gemma Hayter, and yeah, very sad stories. If you'd like to give them a watch. This time I'm looking at a different show called Faking It Tears for Crime, and this show more concentrates on the perpetrator rather than the victim, because it uses three experts. They're ever so good. There's one called The Watcher, who's a body language expert. He's really good. He's my favourite. Then you've got the listener. She's a linguistics expert, so she listens out for things that people do say, or more to the point, don't say. And then you've got the profiler, who's she's a forensic analysis. She analyses their personality and stuff. You know, were they born bad? You know, what led them down this road? And they're really good. They're really good. And the first half of the show, you get to see, it gets to the point really quickly, to be honest. It goes into the detail of what the crime was, you know, how they were caught, etc. And the second half, it gets these experts to have a look. Sorry, what I should say is a lot of it is caught, whether it be on CCTV or their police interviews, you know, television interviews. Some of them are very ballsy and give television interviews, you know, while a particular crime's going on. And these experts look at those and see if there's little things that would have given them away at the time. It's really interesting. So the first story I'd like to look at is Tracie Andrews. And if you're from Birmingham in England, which I am, you'll know who this lady is. Not a very nice person, obviously. And basically, back on the 1st of December 1996, Tracie Andrews and her partner, Lee Harvey, and he was 25, she was 27, I think, were coming back from a night out at a pub. And as they're driving along the road, they start to get harassed by a car behind them, beeping, you know, going up behind, you know, coming really close to the back of them, you know, trying to bust them off the road, that kind of stuff. And eventually, when Lee pulls over, the other car screeches in front of them. Lee gets out, obviously, you know, what are you playing at? And a fight starts between Lee and the passenger of this other car, Ford Sierra. And Tracie gets out, realises Lee's really hurt, he's on the floor, approaches the passenger of this other car, who in her description was a fat guy with staring eyes. I thought she said scary, but she doesn't. She says staring eyes. And he knocks her out. She's unconscious. They leave this random pair of men, and she cradles Lee, and he dies there and then. Really sad, really, really sad. So when the police come, they're like, you know, it's 1996, this kind of thing, it wasn't commonplace. You know, it was a really big story at the time. It's like, oh my God, you can't even like drive down the road and you're getting killed. So on the 3rd of December, a press conference is held because there's been no witnesses to this car pulling them up. You know, there's nothing for the police to go on at the moment. So they think if they hold a press conference, they'll try and jog people's memories. So at the press conference, there is Lee Harvey's mum and dad and Tracie Andrews. And she comes in, and what I'll say about her is earlier pictures of her, very glamorous. She's a part-time model. You know, she does that, and she's a barmaid. And like I say, really glamorous couple. He was a really good-looking guy. And, you know, you just think, what a shame. You know, young, everything to live for. He had a 2-year-old little girl. She had a 2-year-old daughter. you know, and seeming to have everything to live on. You know, how pointless, you know, what was the point in this crime kind of thing. So when she sits down, everyone gets a bit of a shock because Garni's this glamorous girl that all the press have seen in the photos, replaced with this very, not haggard, but, you know, she's got 2 black eyes, she's got a broken nose, her hair's all dishevelled, you know, which you would expect. You know, her boyfriend's just been murdered 48 hours beforehand, you know, so she's holding on to his mum's hand and giving this account that I've told you about. But when she goes to describe the passenger of the other car, she, if you say staring guys, you automatically go like that, don't you? And that's what she did. But at the time she did it, all the press took a photo of her doing it. You know, it was, you could hear their motor drives going as she said it. And the photos, infamous now, you know, and after the press conference, which, you know, after she'd said what had happened, it ended quite abruptly and off they went, all the press apparently sat round and were like, you know, what do you think of that? And they all kind of agreed, you know, in her facial expression when she was doing an impression of the guy, she looked evil. She looked absolutely evil. And, you know, I'll pop a link in the bottom, you can have a look for yourself. But she didn't look either the glamorous Tracie Andrews that they, you know, seen, the dishevelled, you know, victim that they were watching. She looked evil when she pulled the face, and they happened to catch her at that moment in time. But we know, you know, if you're caught at an awkward time when you're not meaning to, when you're not looking at a camera, you know, your face doesn't always look great. So, you know, you couldn't really base anything on that, but they all kind of said it between themselves, you know, I think there's a bit more to this. So in the meantime, the police are investigating and, you know, trying to find these road rage killers, and they're struggling. They're really struggling. They can't find any evidence to support what she said, but at the same time, they couldn't find any evidence not to support what she said. So then the following night, she commits suicide. Oh, no, she didn't. She tried to. Sorry. She tries to commit suicide. And that puts a question mark over it. Again, though, could it be that, you know, she's lost the love of her life? She can't live without him. So although there was questions to be like, did this happen? At the same time, they couldn't say it didn't. So you know, it's a bit of a hard one for them. So then, after the press conference, a few people come forward, and a couple are a male and female who were driving that route in Alvechurch that same night and seen Lee's car. Now, Lee's car was quite distinctive. It was an Escort XR3i. Do you remember the sporty ones in the 90s? A white one, very distinctive. And they said, you know, they did see him driving erratically. They did see him speeding, and, you know, so much that they noticed it, but they didn't see another car, either in front or behind. So that was the first pair of witnesses. And then someone else comes forward who lives in the area, who said, yes, I did hear a car screech up. One car. They heard a male man, you know, a man raise his voice, and they heard a female raising her voice. Didn't hear anyone else. So it was starting to be questioned then, you know. And what I haven't mentioned is that Lee Harvey was stabbed 42 times. 42. Now, it's really hard. 42 times. He's 25 years of age. You know, I suppose you wouldn't want to look at her because you'd be like, we're dealing with a psycho, you know. But they didn't have a choice. It was all pointing to her at this point, you know. They had witnesses to say that there was no other car. You know, they had no proof of another car. But the one thing they were missing was the word murder weapon. Sorry, I'm still reading over this. Please bear with me. yeah, they were still missing the murder weapon. And what they traced back was that on the night in question, Tracie was taken to the hospital because, like I say, she had injuries, and one of the nurses did say she kept disappearing to go to the toilet, you know, more so many times that it was noticeable. So they were like, could she have got rid of it in the bin? They actually checked her boot. Well, they obviously checked all the clothes from the night, and there was an outline of a Swiss Army knife. And when the pathologist obviously looked at Lee and stuff, it looked like that the stab marks were made by scissors, which is the other end of a Swiss Army knife, the scissors on the other end. So with everything not looking great for her, they charged her. They charged her with his murder. And yeah, she went to court, and I think it was on the 29th of July, 97. She was found guilty. She was found obviously guilty of his murder. She got life with a minimum of 14 years. So yeah, so that was where you're up to in the programme. And then they have the experts look at her interview, and the interview they've got on tape for her is the press conference. And it's so clever. It's so clever how they notice things. Basically, the watcher, who will like say is the body language expert, he notices things that are called a gestural sleep. And what that means is when you're saying something positive, and you're quite, you know, you're saying yes to, you know, it's a positive statement you're making. If it's a lie, your body can give you away. Your actual own body, without you realising it, your subconscious can give it away, and it's called a gestural sleep. And it'll be like a one-armed shrug, shoulder shrug, or, you know, blinking too many times, or rubbing your leg. You know, there are so many things that can give you away that you won't be aware of, but people like this can spot. And, you know, he noticed so many with her. He noticed so many with her in the interview. So, like I say, the shrugs on when she was talking. You've got the listener as well, who's the linguistics expert, and when she was talking, she was putting in, like she says, I was just trying to stop the bleeding, really. Now, Miria, I didn't think anything of someone saying that. I watched it, I didn't think anything. But then they question it, and it says, her tone dropped, you know, why was the really? You know, they basically took it that no, she didn't try and stop him bleeding at all. Complete lie. That's what they took from it. But back to when the reporters, you remember I was saying what she said about the staring eyes, and she pulled a particular face. It really does make her look evil. It really does. You'll never forget that face, that expression. They said, actually, that wasn't kind of showing that she did it. Although that's what it looked like to everyone else. They says, actually, that genuinely, she was pulling that face. But obviously we know now it's a lie and it's not a description of somebody, but that would have been in her head. Or possibly the linguistics expert said it could have been her remembering how angry she was at the time. And that's where the face came from. So really all the press that had judged her, although ended up judging her correctly, it wasn't for that reason, you know. And this is where these experts are amazing, absolutely amazing, because you think you've spotted something and actually no, you haven't seen anything really. The profiler herself, she's the forensics analysis, she's really good as well. And yeah, basically it was looked into Lee and Tracie's relationship, and this is another way they got her, to be honest, because they weren't the glamorous couple that was portrayed. It was quite a toxic relationship, violence. You know, there was a case of them being in Birmingham City Centre the one night, and she bit him, you know, to bite someone. You're going into a savage type of domestic violence, it's kind of, you know, it's a next step, isn't it, to physically bite somebody, you know. They found out, I mean, it was a volatile relationship. From what I've gathered, both sides, you know, it wasn't just her, it was both sides. I mean, her face was a mess that night. I think they genuinely did have a fight. But to stab him 42 times, just leave him. Just leave. You know, it's despicable, absolutely despicable. And then to hold his mum's hand and to lie to the entire country. That's what I'm talking about this program. It shows people who've done despicable crimes, but have got so ballsy. You know, they go on camera and, you know, either play the victim or play the very concerned witness. You know, I don't know how they do it. I genuinely don't. It's like, where do you come from? You know, but anyway, back to Tracie Andrews. In 2009, thanks to the taxpayers, she had some reconstructive surgery. What you would notice in her photos, her jaw is really prominent. Like the bottom of her head comes past the top. So in 2009, the taxpayers paid for her to get that redone, which is, you know, well done to everyone. Possibly so she wouldn't be so recognised when she come out, I presume, because she was then released in July of 2011. Dyed her hair jet black, like I say, she's had reconstructive surgery on her jaw, which was really distinctive. So dyed hair or not, you'd have recognised that. You know, and then some bloke, who's obviously very brave, or, you know, he's got a little bit of a weird bit of animal, I don't know. But anyway, she met a guy. And in 2016, she actually went on her hen do to the adult weekend in Minehead, you know, and was photoed dressed in a policewoman outfit, of all things, you know, gyrating with some men and, you know, being very flirty. This is a hen do, by the way. And yeah, no shame on the boy. I wonder if them men know who they were dancing and who they were being gyrated upon by, you know. I wonder if what they think if they know. And yes, then she got married in August 2017. I just can't imagine what his family must think. His daughter would be, she'd be 25 now. You know, when she was released, she was told she couldn't go within 25 miles of Lee's family, you know, the area and stuff. But so 25 miles isn't far, you know, and obviously they've got to be hearing all that. I mean, she's moved on, she got married. You know, could she have children now? No, I don't think she could. But still, she, you know, she can have a life. She could have a life. Their son's gone in a very pointless and evil act. You know, it's so frustrating. It's like, why? If it was violent, you know, we still don't know what it was over, because although she pleaded not guilty, after she was convicted, she did write a kind of a statement saying that yes, in fact, you know, she does confess to it. She does eventually say that yes, I did kill him, but she still tries to soil his name. It was self-defense. You know, she didn't have a choice. You know, he was, you know, beating her 42 times. Keep that in your memory, because I'm sorry, self-defense does not warrant 42 times. You know, that's a long time to be stabbing somebody. I don't buy it at all. I don't. I mean, there is proof to say they did have a volatile relationship and they were toxic. They didn't work. One or the other should have just walked away. It is that simple. But obviously there was a bit of an obsession there. I think they were both very attractive, mutually attractive. You know, he would attract a lot of girls, she'd attract a lot of men. You know, I think there was a lot of jealousy going on. But they were young. It's kind of what goes on in a lot of young relationships, you know, when you just finding out about yourself and, you know, your partners. I don't know. I don't know. What do you say about that? So, yes, she's off living a lovely married life now. And, yeah, I believe his mum did write a book. Evil, the lady who killed my son. I know it's on Amazon. And, yeah, I just feel really bad for the family. I feel really bad for his daughter, you know, just at the pointlessness of it. So, yeah, that was my review of Tracie Andrews. Lovely lady. And the programme Faking It Tears of a Crime, like I say, really good experts in it. So tomorrow, I'm going to be looking at this one. It's Ellie Butler. And I don't know if you know about this one. It's a little bit of a harder one for me to do because it's a little girl. But I feel like it needs to be done because I've got a lot of questions about this particular case. But I'll talk to you about that tomorrow. And yeah, have a look at the link below to see the face that the press, you know, basically said, yeah, it's her, found her guilty on. And yeah, any comments, pop in below and I will see you all soon. Thank you so much for joining me again. Sorry for my little hiccups, but I'm getting there and I'll see you all soon. Thank you.